Okay, so I'm excited for this Mastermind series this month. Christy, Emily, and I were talking about building networks and stepping up your IPA game and really teaching people what it takes to be successful at this business. Now, this is not necessarily a call for the very, very brand new person who isn't even sure if they want to work a business. This is definitely a call for people that want to work a business, that want to grow their network, that want to step up their game. And so if that is you, then you're in the right place. I want to start out talking about the mindset of growing your network first and foremost, because I had a different type of network than Emily or Christy had. I didn't have much of a network at all. Christy had done some network marketing before, and everybody that knows Christy knows that she's just like this person that comes and like jumps on you and loves you and wraps herself around you, and she gets in really close, and like that's Christy. And Emily has always been that outgoing, very personable person, lots of friends. She blogged before Plexus. Like that was her story, and those are awesome. Like if that is you, that's incredible. But if that's not you, that's still okay. If you don't really have that big of a network, you can grow a network. I think the thing that came up for me, and the thing that comes up for a lot of people, is we get to this point where we feel like we've reached out to everybody we know. We've talked to everybody in our market, and there's no possible way that our business can continue to grow because we've talked to everybody. We've asked them once, maybe we've asked them twice, maybe we've even asked them 3 times. And so we feel like it's just not meant to be for us and that we can't do this because we don't have a network. The other limiting belief that people come up against sometimes, which is something that I had to work through, and I would love it if you comment in the comments if this is you. But another thing that I struggled with was, oh my gosh, am I just like looking at everybody with dollar signs, and am I just poaching on everybody, and am I just like looking for my next kill? Like if I am expanding my network and looking to grow my network, is that what it looks like? Because I don't want to feel like I'm just looking at people as a dollar sign. And I think some people struggle with growing their network. Haley, yeah, that's how she totally feels. I think some people struggle with growing their network and they don't even try because they just want it to happen organically. They want things to just kind of fall into their lap, and if it's meant to be. Well, I have something to say about that. If it's meant to be, it's up to you. Like there is no such thing as organic or meant to be. And so you have to shift your mindset and understand that, number one, you are a good person and you love people. Everybody here on this call, you're a good person and you love people. You're not poaching on anyone. You're not shoving anything down their throat. You're not doing anything to harm them. In fact, you have to believe first and foremost, you have something that can change people's lives. You have a product that can change people's lives. You have a community that can change people's lives. You have a business that can change people's lives. And therefore, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to show up, to be bigger, to reach out to more people, and to grow your network. And when that shifted in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, I had it all wrong. I thought that, I was just like, it was so weird, and I was poaching on people, and I was like specifically looking for people, and like that was just kind of weird. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to look for people. I have to find people like-minded. I have to find people to join my tribe because there are more people out there. There are so many more people out there that don't know what we have in our community, in our company, in our products, that I have a responsibility to grow my network because I hid behind the fact that I didn't like Instagram. I didn't like whatever, this or that, or I didn't want to do those things because that just wasn't me. Anybody? I know some of you here. Yeah, Bev is like, me. I hid behind those things, and those were simply excuses. Excuses are just lies you tell yourself that nobody believes but you. Okay? And so if you are struggling with any of those things, the very first thing you have to do is banish those thoughts and change your mindset. Because what we have in so many different ways is life-changing. And that might seem dramatic to some people, but I know it's true. And if you're here on this call and you're wanting to build a business, you know it's true. And so your job is to get out there and to find the people. They're not just going to find you organically. There are things that you can do to help people find you, but you have to get out there and find people. And you have to understand that in some way, shape, or form, we have something that helps people, that blesses other people's lives. And so once I got past that, I was able to work on growing my network, and I have since, signed up many people that were strangers on social media, because for me, that's a big way that I grow my business. I do have much less opportunities because of where I live and the types of activities my kids do to have the in-person type of interaction. However, I will share throughout the course of this series how I have done that still. But I do a lot of what I do through social media and have the opportunity to meet and connect and grow relationships with people that some of them are now my dearest friends. And what if I had decided this is not cool? I'm not doing it. This is poaching on people. That feels so weird. It's outside of my comfort zone. I never would have had those relationships. Those people never would have had these products. They never would have had this business. So many things would have happened if I had shied away from the thing that I did not want to do. So when we're teaching you these things, we're teaching you them knowing full well that you might be afraid to do them, knowing full well that that was the place that we came from, but also knowing that growth is essential to you achieving your ultimate goal. It's essential to you showing up in your purpose and being as big and as bright and as amazing as you were meant to be in this business. We all have different goals, but you chose to be here and to be on this call because you want to expand your network. You want to grow a bigger business, and you have got to step it up. You have to step up your relationship building. You have to step up your network growing. You have to step up your IPA. And it doesn't have to be with, what's that word? It doesn't have to be with nervousness or fear or any of those things. It should be with excitement. Like, you get to do this. You get to be in people's lives. You get to find people. That is exciting. So shift your mindset in that way. Look at the things that we share over the next 3 weeks as a buffet table. Okay, so everything that we're telling you, it's not like we're saying, okay, Susie, you need to go and do all these things today. Like, oh my gosh, I would have died, because for me, it has had to be a step-by-step process. And I think everybody here that's going to share, like Christy and Emily's step-by-step process. It's not like where we are today and how we build relationships today and how we expand our network. It's how we did it in the beginning. If you're brand new to using Facebook, don't expect to be the queen of Instagram right now. Like, it's not going to happen. So it's a buffet table, and it's one step at a time. And the thing that every single one of the experienced leaders on this call could say, the difference between somebody who makes it and somebody who doesn't, is that the person that makes it shows up. They show up every single day on social media. They show up every single day outside of social media in their relationships. They just show up. They don't hide for weeks or months or years at a time. They show up when it's easy. They show up when it's hard. And so we want to encourage you that as you're trying out some of these things, as you're learning some of these ways to build your network and open up your IPA, that you just pick one or two things that you can start right away and get those down and feel comfortable with those things. And then guess what? One or two things, line upon line, one little morsel at a time. You don't have to eat this all up right now. You don't have to apply this all right now. Take notes, go back and watch this series. the other thing I want to say before we really dig into this is please don't let this be another training that you listen to and you take notes and you're like, that was so great. It's only as great as you apply it. And just expect that trying out these things, it's not all going to go perfect the first time. It doesn't even go perfect for us now, but we just keep trying. We keep failing forward. And these are the things that are going to help your business to explode. Listen, you don't grow a second leg. You don't grow a business under your husband. You don't grow unless you grow your network and you step up your IPA game and you get vulnerable and you put yourself out there. And it is so, so worth it. You want to make a mark. You're here because you want to make a mark. Maybe you're not entirely sure exactly what you want that mark to be, but you know you're here for a purpose and you want to make a mark. And you can only do that if you get bigger, if you expand your network, and if you step up your game. So we are going to turn the time over to, I totally forget who's going to go next. But we are going to, yes, Christy, are you on?
Yes.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, about how we can actually get better at talking face to face with people and expanding our network that way.
Okay, hi guys. I just got back from a glorious run in the sun, and I looked in the mirror and noticed that my skin is literally peeling right here from tears of gratitude over the last 30 days. I'm not kidding. This has been an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful to be here to pour into you guys so that you can show up. Okay, you guys, so this is something that I've become passionate about because guess what? It's something that I wasn't good at for a long time. Raise your hand if you can relate to feeling super nervous and you want to shiz your pants when you're face to face with people about bringing plexus up. Maybe not even about bringing plexus up, but just creating new conversations that will someday lead to plexus. Anyone? I used to avoid that like crazy. Emily was like, you should do this and that. And I'm all, I'm going to hide behind my phone and I'm going to just make it happen while I still can hide. This is something that I have really stepped into lately, and you guys, it's super exciting. I want to give you a little case by case on what happened the other day. I was at Lucy's dance rehearsal. That's like a circus, right? So many people, so many dance moms, so many people trying to get people ready. It was chaos. And I looked over and there was this cute girl that I had been passing. Like every time we drop and pick up, like I see her, hi, like her husband and I used to hang out when we were in high school, super random. We never really talked, but we had just a little bit here and there. I walked up and I was like, how are you today? And she's like, I'm good, how are you? And I want to back up the bus. Number one thing to being successful at this is having a foundation of peace in your heart. Write that down. That is 10 minutes of meditation. That is deep breathing for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes. You have to have a foundation of peace in your heart so that in that situation, you don't go, oh gosh, I just need a minute to breathe, and you miss out on the opportunity when you're in front of people. Number one, have a foundation of peace in your heart, period. Create that however it looks for you. I had done really good that day. I knew it was going to be chaotic of doing my 10 minutes. I forced myself, I disciplined myself, even though my heart was like, go, 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 you gotta go. I was like, no, I know better. I'm gonna stop for 10 minutes, do a guided meditation, even if my hands are like this the whole time. Because by the end, I was like, okay, I can do this. Like you have to start with that foundation, write it down, number one. Number two, I spent time that day with gratitude and actually practicing gratitude for who is showing up in my business. Write that down as number two. These things all play together and you're gonna try to, the ego wants to go, okay, now tell me what to really do. I'll get there. But these things are very important. When you have gratitude for your team that is showing up instead of, oh, that person quit and oh, I'll never make it, and you're not gonna be in the right space and have the right energy to execute this. You've gotta be in gratitude. Just write 3 wins down in your business in the morning. That will take you maybe 30 seconds, right? So practice that gratitude for who is showing up and what's going right in your business. That's number 2. Number 3, your intentional focus on what's going right in your business. These things build on each other, and I'll show you why. When you are intentionally focusing on what's going right in your business, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a twinkle in your eye about your business. You're going to have an energy about your business and about your products. That is everything when you're talking to people face to freaking face. If you don't do this, you will not be able to execute in the moment. It's going to feel awkward. You're going to be like, I can't do this. Those three things are so foundational. Foundation of peace in your heart, gratitude practice for who is showing up, which will lead to an intentional focus on what's going right in your business, which will lead to a twinkle in your eye about your business and about the products and about what's going on, okay? So then let's go into this moment. So I had done those things that day. I intentionally created time to do that. It didn't just happen. I wasn't just lucky. I intentionally created those things first thing that morning. So in that moment, I was like, I am going to be an outward focused girl and I'm going to get to know this girl. I like her. I didn't intend to bring Plexus up, and that's how it happens, you guys. But those things create an energy around you, and people are attracted to that. And that's what you need to attract people face to face. You must be vibrating high. You must have that energy of abundance, gratitude, like things are going right and you're excited, and that twinkle in your eye about your business, okay? So then in that moment, she's like, how are you? I'm good, how are you? And it's such a crazy time of year and the small talk, and we were just, you know, I was outward focused trying to get to know her. The question came up, are you gonna enroll Lucy for dance next year? And I was like, oh, you know what, we're actually moving. Oh, that's sad, where are you moving? We're going to Hurricane. Well, why? Was your husband's job down there? Da, 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 da. No, in fact, my husband is retired. He's gonna be starting his own business. And she's like, wow, that's cool. Like, how can you do that? And I was like, well, I have a business that is allowing us a lot of freedom. So we're running with this opportunity. And she's like, what do you do? And my twinkle was there because I did those 4 things, right? And I said, oh my gosh, I have the most incredible opportunity to help people feel their best. She's like, oh, that sounds like something I need. What is it? And I said, oh, they're all focused on gut health, blood sugar balance, reducing inflammation. When you do those 3 things, you feel your best. These supplements have changed my life. I had a twinkle in my eyes. I was excited. I was filled with gratitude because I intentionally did those things earlier in the day. And she's like, oh, I'm going to have to try this. I have never had someone say that in like the 2 minutes that we first started talking. Guys, she enrolled in the crazy diamond push. I did a quick follow-up. She enrolled her husband. And I told her straight up, you need to commit to 90 days. She's like, I'm in. She has tons of influence. And she's like, well, gosh, like, this is pretty cool. Tell me about Diamond and how does that work? And I would love, dude, this is how you do it. Can you see like the simple things? This is really how you're able to do it. Okay, so the last part of this, you have that twinkle in your eye because you did those 4 things. You have the foundation of peace. You practice gratitude for who is showing up. You had an intentional focus on what's going right, which created a twinkle in your eye and an energy that's attractive. And then in that moment, when you have the moment to speak up, you take a deep breath and you have a straight freaking spine and you be proud of what you do. You don't shrink. I have had so many times where I shrunk and I said, oh, I just have a business. It's, you know, plant-based supplements. Anyway, so what do? No! We have the opportunity to change people's mother effing lives. Forgive that. Guys, it's a big deal what we have the opportunity to do. We don't just say, oh, plant-based supplements, okay, anyway, like, don't do that. Take the opportunity to let the twinkle show and say, I have an awesome opportunity and a business to help people feel their best. And you tell a snippet of what it did for you in like 10 seconds or less, and that's it. And they're gonna be like, dang, I want what you have. And you're like, yes, you do. And I'm gonna help you feel your best. You take that opportunity with confidence, with excitement, and you give a short, key short. Don't blow people's brains up with, don't do that. Quick, short snippet of what you do with confidence, with excitement, and you have an outward focus to get to know them better, okay? Because when you are outward focused, that also has an energy and a vibration that's attractive. When you're just trying to like blow people up with, you gotta try Plexus. No. You're asking questions about them. You're showing genuine interest. Because news flash and spoiler alert, when you become a better person, you guys, your business improves. It always happens. When you work on genuinely being a kind and outward focused and loving person, people want to be around you. They want to have part of what you have. So those foundational things that I said at the beginning are everything. And then after that, You make sure you have a twinkle in your eye and you have an excitement and an energy. You take that opportunity to short tell them what you're doing with excitement and with passion, with the twinkle, and they're going to want what you have, and then you just keep moving forward. So that's what I've been doing lately, you guys, and I've gotten myself like, that's how you continue to grow. It's so exciting when you catch this idea, you guys, because when you go out in the world, how many opportunities do you have to like meet new people? There's a ton, and that's so exciting when you think of your business. You need a handful of people that really catch the vision with you. That's all we need. Another tip I want to give you, something that I've done, this cute girl at soccer was like, dang girl, I can't stop looking at you. You're like a Kardashian. I was like, what? I had just gotten my lashes done. Maybe that was it. Like, I don't know. But she was like, I just can't even stop staring at you. I was like, you are the sweetest thing ever. Like, we need to be friends. So I gave her my phone and I said, put yourself in there. We're going to be friends. Confidence, excitement. And I immediately went in and commented on hers and said, so excited to connect with you. Like, I love finding people that are my people. Guys, don't be afraid to just connect with people. Be genuine. And then you go in there on their post and you say, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Like, again, to be able to connect with people face to face, you gotta be genuine. And it's so fun because it's fun to connect with people genuinely. And if it isn't fun for you to connect with people genuinely, I feel you. There was a time when I was like, I'm done connecting. That's okay. Give yourself some compassion, take some deep breaths, but just know this is a skill that you can get really good at. And as you do these things and you practice, you're going to get better and better and better. And we are in the business where they give us gangster income, like a brain surgeon, for genuinely loving people, pointing our arrows out, and learning these skills. So be patient with yourself. But as you learn these things, you guys, you are going to get better at it and better at it. And you're going to get a doctorate degree in connecting with people. And that equals diamond. And do you know that diamond income is so worth it? Then you get to show up in your purpose and serve more. Like, it's the best deal on the planet. So that's what I have to share about that.
I love it. Hey, Emily, do you want to add anything at all about talking face-to-face with people? Because I know that you've done that a lot. Any additional tips? That was amazing, Christy. Or how you transition the conversation?
Yeah, so I have 4 tips that I was going to share. And Bev is sitting here with me. And when Christy was talking, I leaned to her and I was like, remember when I did that to you? And she was like, yeah.
And I wanted to say, stop doing that.
So my 4 tips are, number 1, make it about connection first. And this is something that I have gone in and out of, right? Like, there are times when my mindset has not been great because I've been exhausted or out of balance or not taking care of myself. And so as I look back at the last 3.5 years, I can see when I was in a really healthy place and when I was in an unhealthy place. And my business, I led my business in different ways if I was in that unhealthy or healthy place. And so there were times, and I think it's important to know that there will be times where you will feel out of balance, and having the awareness of that and to recenter yourself, like Christy said, take that 10 minutes in the morning to center yourself is so key, because it will help you to avoid those unhealthy times or to catch them when they're happening so you can start that healing process. So, and it might be because of your marriage. It might be because of your family. It might be because of you work too much. It could be many, many things that cause that. It's not just plexus. You could be having a child that's struggling. Like last year was really hard for me because of what was going on with Dean in my life and some friendships that were close to me. So there's just certain things that are going to cause instability in your life, and it's going to trickle over into your business. So just learning how to handle that is key. So, so connection in a healthy way, what that looks like is you meet someone with the intention of, what can I give to this new person in my life, right? Instead of what can I take? And that was really what I was thinking about when Brooke was talking about how we don't want anyone to feel like you're poaching, right? Because if you're in that poaching mentality, you're taking. But when you're in the connection giving mentality, you are thinking, what can I give to this person? What do I have to give to this person without receiving anything in return? And so number one tip is connect first. Make it about what can I add to this person's life? What can I learn from them? How can we connect on a deep level? Number two, as you are in that connection process, gain and collect information about them as a friend. So I'm going to use Bev as an example just because she's sitting next to me. But last May, our daughters signed up for cheer together, and we all were just sitting in the little cheer gym watching the girls behind a glass mirror. And I did a lot of listening because I was exhausted. And I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing in my business because I just wanted I wanted to develop relationships that didn't have plexus in them. That was the place that I was in at that time. And so instead of talking about me, I just listened to everyone and had so much joy in that. And I heard about how Bev's daughter was on a mission in Malaysia and how she loved to cook and what recipes are her favorite. And I cook too. And this is my favorite recipe. And would you like to come with me to Good Things Utah? Or would you like to come over to my house? And would you like to make this favorite loose meat sandwich with me? Could I make it for your family? For nothing other than I was connecting with her in common interests, right? And there were other people at the gym that I was making friends with as well, right? Because that's what friendship is. It's finding common interests with each other that you can share and enjoy together.
But then she saw what a big mouth I was and thought, I'm signing her up for plexus.
But I didn't right away. So
I'm just teasing.
Well, but okay. So in that gathering of that collecting and gaining information phase, I was collecting and gathering information about everyone, just naturally, not like intentionally collecting, gathering information, but just for sake of what I'm teaching you here. Step 1, connect. Step 2, collect and gather information. You're already doing these things every time you make a new friend. You're just probably doing it unconsciously. So I'm just consciously breaking it down for you so that you can see what that looks like.
Can I throw one thing in there?
Yes.
Like too, I don't really think about like when Brooke said and Emily's saying, make the connection with people. It doesn't have to be, when I meet somebody, do I think of plexus? I always just think, I'm such a sharer. So I tell everybody everything and I think women naturally are like that. Women love to tell other women about your favorite bra. I mean, women love to tell women about their favorite mascara or whatever. So, plexus kind of comes up organically as you're talking to somebody anyway. It really does. It doesn't have to be oh my gosh, that's the person I want to sign up, Yeah. It comes up pretty naturally.
Yeah. And so, so as you're collecting those information, and maybe you're thinking what Bev's talking about, like, plexus could help her. What I like to do is kind of store that information. Like for example, Bev said, I'm looking about starting a new business, and inside I'm like, she wants to start a new business. And she was thinking about Instagram, a clothing store on Instagram. And this other girl was like, I do that. And I'm just like, they're all doing these unconventional things, right? And so I was just collecting information, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love to shop on Instagram. Like, it's a problem in my life because I'm like buying a swimsuit, and that's not a good one. And then I've got this other outfit that came in not American sizes, and I couldn't even squeeze myself into it. And they're like, oh yeah, I bought that outfit too, but I bought it in like the third wheel, and so it didn't even look like the picture anymore. Like, we're all connecting because I have no agenda other than friendship, connection, gain and collect information. That's what that's how a natural friendship develops, right? So then after collecting and gaining information over the course of 2 months, I was going on vacation quite a bit. And the girls would be like, where were you last week? And I was like, it was that Bahamas trip I was telling you about. And they're like, oh my gosh, wow. And Bev said, gosh, you little 35-year-olds, like, it's amazing what you do. And I was like, well, I mean, gosh, like, it helped me like feel better. And I lost 40 pounds. And she's like, what? You lost 40 pounds? Mm-hmm. Well, I need to buy whatever that did because I need to lose some weight. And so all of a sudden I had a choice of how do I sprinkle? So that's step 3. Step 1 is connect. Step 2 is gain and collect information. Step 3 is sprinkle. So I sprinkled. I could have not shared my product story there, but I sprinkled to test the waters. Is this a safe place for this in our relationship? I don't know. I'll see. I will read her response and see what happens in that sprinkle phase. So when I said, yeah, that's what it did for me, she was like, well, I want to order. And I was like, great. What's your phone number? Let me get your phone number and I'll send you a little video. And I didn't know Bev well enough back then to know that she was never going to watch a video and she was never going to see any of my stuff on Instagram. She was never going to see any of that stuff. So I was like trying to push her into that mode, and then she like wasn't getting back to me. And that's when I learned I just have to sign her up next time I was with her. Right. So, but the point of the story is that there was a sprinkle. And then while we were sitting there, she was like, now tell me more about this trip. And I said, well, it's paid for by my company. And she's like, now what kind of thing is this? Like some multi-level thing? And I was like, yeah, and you would be really good at what I do. And at this point, we're sitting side by side. There's not a ton of people involved in the conversation. It's one-on-one, us talking a little bit more quietly in a group of people.
And that was maybe a month later.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the same day.
Mm-mm. And so she was like, no, I've done that stuff before. I've done it all. I've done this company and this company and this company. I'm not good at that stuff, but I would love to lose a little weight. And I was like, let me tell you why you would be good at it. You walk in a room, you light it up. You're friends with everyone. You know no strangers. You already share what you love. You're very influential. You've already been successful at small businesses. And then all of a sudden I saw her eyebrow raise a little bit, and she was like, I don't know. I'm not 35 anymore. I couldn't do what you're doing. And I was like, no, you'd be better, because you would have not the same struggles that my network has at 35 that you don't have at 47. Right. And so and she just said, no. Well, then she started using the products, and I kept sprinkling. It's this dripping process. And then the fourth thing is the test phase, where you just go for let's just do this. You'd really be good at it. The products are working for you. How about now? Like, what would it look like for you to have an extra X amount of dollars a month? And that's where we started vision casting. But notice there was a lot of prepping to that point. There was a lot of talking about the products. There was a lot about saying how this would fit into your life. There was a lot of me showing her the qualities that I saw in her that would be great, that was included. And then it's been this continual process. And we say 7 to 11 exposures to get someone to take the products. Guess what? 7-11 exposures to get someone to build a business. It's the same thing. You're just replicating it with now the business. So connect. Step 1. Step 2, gain and collect information, store it. Step 3, sprinkle. Read the person. Are they into it or not? If they're not, go back to gaining and collecting. If they're into it, sprinkle, and then test. Test it out. Are we going to go together and build this business together? So I hope that that's helpful. I really feel like for me, getting people to do the business, you can do that behind your phone and computer just as easily as you can side to side. And if you saw my presentation at Bob Heilig's Impact and Growth Summit, I talked about how I wrote messages like that to 37 people, practicing Bob Heilig's verbiage of how to attract an A-lister. I got 37 no's. And then 5 months later, I was able to confidently and comfortably use that same verbiage to talk to Beverly in person. And that changed everything. And so I want you to really know for a fact, and I just posted this on my social media accounts today. Bev found it just in a book sitting in my house. You always pass failure on the way to success. Mickey Rooney said that. You always pass failure on the way to success. I failed
at least 10 times.
At least. I mean, I failed 37 messages before I got one person to say, okay, there might be something here. And then helping this person get to where she is at has not been easy all of the time. Just like it hasn't been easy for Brooke to lead me where I am. It hasn't been easy for Christy. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy just because you get that one yes. It's that constant connect, gain, collect info, sprinkle, test over and over and over again. And practice makes perfect. You really will get better at this, and you will fail. You will make mistakes. You will not have it work out with that one dream teamer that you knew it was going to be. But I promise you that your team is out there and you're going to find them.
Well, and I think I love that message. And one of the things that I was thinking about that I wrote down in bold letters while you were talking was adding value and building up. So you are constantly adding value to people and building them up. People need to feel like you're adding to their life, not that you're taking away from their life. And so I think that system that you described is exactly, what's worked for me, what's worked for Christy, what's worked for all of the jewels on our team is this adding value and sprinkling things in and trying again and again and again. And even though Emily got 37 no's, I would venture to say that she believes some of those 37 no's will actually be yeses one day.
I'm still not giving up. There's one in particular that I'm like, she just hasn't said yes yet.
Right, exactly. And so the thing that is really important with that is when somebody says no, they don't just drop out of your atmosphere. They don't. That's the thing that gives network marketing a bad name, is that when somebody reaches out to somebody and they say no, then they never talk to them again. That's why people will feel used by network marketing. And so I want to talk about this concept of IPA and filling your funnel and where people go and what we mean when we say, hey, reach out to 10 people a day. And so I'm going to be really honest with numbers and time and money and things like that. Is that okay, guys? This is the Masterminds call, so I can be super honest about this. And Christy and Emily and I have talked about this. If your goal is to make around $1,000 a month or less, like you want to be a gold or a senior gold ambassador, which is fantastic, and that might be your goal, and you are super happy there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's the first thing I want you to know. But if that is your goal, doing 30 minutes a day consistently of IPA, that's going to get you a goal like that. That's like reaching out to 3 people a day most days. You will eventually be somebody, that's consistently doing that can make around, $500 to $1,000 a month. Okay. So those of you that are here on the call, if you have goals bigger than that, shout out in the comments. Say me. If you have goals bigger than that, let us know. If you don't, totally fine. Again, remember, this is never about comparing, but this is about being honest. Because I did a live video at the Jewels page. I have to tell you this. I did a live video the other day. Christy and Emily know, and Bev and all you guys that are on there. I got so many messages from Jewels that said they have been living in guilt and shame for years and years and years because they've had diamonds and other jewels tell them when they worked their business, their family never felt anything. They didn't have to give up anything. And if you have to sacrifice anything to get to where you are, then it's not right. And so they were feeling like guilt and shame and horrible and struggling to work their business because they felt like their business was supposed to just organically happen and be easy. And that happens for very few people. It does happen for some people, but hey, you know what, girl? I cannot relate to that because the rest of us down here on earth have to actually do something to grow $1 million business or $100,000 business or a $50,000 business, whatever it is you want to do. The rest of us here on earth have to do something. And so if your goal is to be a senior ruby or an emerald or a sapphire or a diamond, you want to be in those upper 4 ranks of the company, you have to increase your effort a little bit more. You just do. Unless you just happen to have people just flock to you, which is like 1 in 10 million, right? Like the rest of you have to get out there and do something. And so reaching out to around 5 to 10 people every single day is more realistic for a dual pace. And that's what we'll say that we did to get to where we were. Now, are we perfect in this? Do we have our off weeks? Yes. But do we have our push weeks where we're like 50, 60, 70 people reaching out? Yes, we know how to push. We know that when we do a little bit more, we get a little bit more. When we do a lot more, we get a lot more. Now, when we talk about this, we don't want you to just go super crazy, be totally out of balance. Like we've all done it that way too. But you have to understand that there are seasons in your business. There are seasons. And you don't need to feel guilty about having a season where you're more busy. That's a season. It's not an addiction. It's not a problem. It's not totally out of balance. It's a season. Anybody that has a successful business or a career will tell you there were seasons in their business and in their career where they had to work their tail off. My own husband, for example, 4 years of medical school, 4 years of residency. Totally out of balance, totally out of whack. Did anybody look at him and judge him? No. 8 years of our life. No judgment. No judgment. You don't have to do that with network marketing. You should be on your knees thanking the Lord that you don't have to do that for 8 years. 8 freaking years, 100 hours a week, 7 12-hour shifts in a row on a regular basis. You don't have to do that. We're just asking you to show up and message 5 to 10 people a day, to talk to 5 to 10 people a day. That is so much easier. And I out-earn him by twice, almost 3 times. Okay? So if you're having a little pity party, that's just a reality check right there. Okay? 5 to 10 people. Now, when I say reach out and we talk about IPA, we don't just mean asking them if they want to try Plexus. Christy and Emily did a beautiful job of explaining talking to people, building relationships, dripping on people. I want you to understand exactly what this means. Some people that you reach out to are going to be more in the relationship building phase. I happen to use the Doe app. When I log a contact on there, I just say RB in the comments. That means relationship building, because some of those people, I'm just relationship building. And then if I learn something new about them, what I do is I write a little note in there, because you think you're going to remember everything, but you're not necessarily going to remember everything. So if you don't have the Doe app, I'm going to highly recommend you invest just a tiny bit of money in that Doe app and you actually use it, because what you invest in is only as good as you use it. So you can do that, or you can create a spreadsheet. Christy's going to talk a little bit about that. So some people will be in the relationship building phase, and you're just moving them through the funnel. I feel like 10 reach outs is just talking to 10 people. Now, one of the traps that some of you fall into is like, hey, I talked to 10 people, but you're never transitioning the conversation to Plexus, and you never are talking about Plexus. So that also is the opposite of what you want to be doing. It's a mixture of things. It's totally a mixture of things. So as you're moving people along, you have people that are in the relationship building phase where you're chatting with them. Like Emily said, you're collecting information, you're finding out about them, you're building that connection. Then you have people that'll be in the potentials phase. These are people that they've kind of opened the door and you've sprinkled a little bit of information and they're open to talking about Plexus. That is a totally different phase than the relationship building phase. So these people get put on a different list or in a different category because they are now potentials. And then of course you have your enrolled phase. The enrolled phase does not mean you're done. The enrolled phase, like Emily explained, is you're still dripping on them. You're still teaching them. You're still encouraging them. Those 7 to 11 times it takes to get them to share. It takes to get them to try to do the business with you. But there is also the prospecting phase. So prospecting is really, to me, what comes before relationship building. Prospecting is when you want to get to know them and you would love to have them be a part of what you're doing, but they have no idea who you are. They don't know who you are from like Adam. So maybe this is somebody on Instagram, this is somebody on Facebook, this is somebody that you want to build a relationship with. How do you do that? Genuine interaction. You watch their stories, you comment on their stories, you read their posts. You don't just say, awesome girl. You actually leave a meaningful comment on their post. You actually share something meaningful. You don't just like something and move on and count that as your 10 reach outs. because I know that there are some of you that are like, okay, I went to that person's page and I liked their post, or I said awesome on their post, but you didn't go above and beyond. The professional goes above and beyond to prospect because they are worth it. You have to look at these people, they are worth the effort. So when I'm doing my 10 reach outs a day, it's going to be a mixture of people that I'm prospecting. I'm really trying to get them to know me and me to know them. People that I'm actively building a relationship with and already kind of having friendly conversation with, gathering information, getting to know them. People that I have transitioned to the actual phase of them being a real potential for my products or my business, or enrolling people and what I'm going to do with them. And so when we say 10 reach outs, it's a mixture of those things, because some of you are like, if I'm trying to reach out to 10 new people and talk to them about Plexus every single day, I'm going to run out of people in 32.5 days. And then what am I going to do? You always are adding people to the funnel. The funnel is never dry. There's an infinite number of people that need what we have if you are always prospecting. And I used to be like, oh my gosh, that word prospecting is such a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. It's not a swear word. You are looking for people that are your kind of people. And so one of the things that I want you to do today is I want you to sit down and I want you to write down who your tribe is, who your person is. What kind of characteristics do they have? Who are you actually looking for? If you have no idea who you're looking for, how are you going to find them? What's their age demographic? What do they like to do? Where do they live? What are their hobbies? What are their beliefs? What are they into? Would you actually like to follow this person? Would you actually like to have a conversation with this person? Would you actually like to be their friend? Does that mean they have to be exactly like you? No. I have friends that are all different shades of me, right? Like, you need all different kinds of people to do this. I mean, on our team, we have people that could not be more different, but it works. It works. And so you have to actually define who is the person you're looking for. And once you define that, you can do, maybe Christy, Emily, we can just shout out a couple of tips of how you can do this. I mean, you can even use the explore button on Instagram, and you can start exploring and looking for people that you want to follow. Now, maybe you're not going after that influencer that has 400,000 followers, but like, who can you find that has 500 to 5,000? That's just like a normal person that's kind of like your tribe. Using that explore button would be one tip. But unless you define who you actually want, you're going to struggle to find that person. So let's shout out a couple other tips.
I was just going to say, I personally do not like finding people on the internet to expand my network. And so, I mean, I can, and I have, but it's very much not something that I enjoy doing. And what I found is that when I was forcing myself to do it that way, it was painfully horrible. And so I would much rather go out at, like, be more social at my kids' sporting things or activities or school, and make friends that way, and then add them to my social media, and then develop the relationship from that point. So if you are someone that you're like cringing at the thought of doing it that way, maybe you would be more comfortable doing it out in person. But I kind of feel like I do a little bit of both, where I reach them in person and then I develop them with social media, where like Brooke is going to add, reach, develop all through social media because of where she lives. Beverly is going to do all of it in person because she would rather die than develop them on social media. So I think it's just understanding there's no right or wrong way to do it. If you hate it, you're not going to be able to keep it up. You have to find a way that brings you joy and peace. Otherwise, it's going to feel like exercise you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Christy.
One thing I feel like I do both, but there's been seasons where I was resistant to both. Like, there was a season where I was like, I'd rather die than build an Instagram following. Not my jam, like garbage, fart noise, big time. Like, I didn't want to do that. Now I'm like, oh, I can see that. Like, and I get Jason, guys. I'm a God girl, and he's like, listen to me. This is what you're supposed to do. And I listen, right? But the bottom line is I do a little bit of everything now, and I'm going to be focusing more on Instagram because I got to do it. Like, it's part of what I have to do. But something that I've been doing is genuinely looking for people that are my people on Instagram. So like I can think of a handful of legitimate real people that I would want to be friends with in real life that I've connected with through Instagram, that I'm still relationship building. I've trickled a little and said, oh, depression, girl, I feel you. Like, I struggled with that for a long time. We should talk sometime. She's like, oh, I'm so open to it. Like, the bottom line is when you're just genuinely yourself and you're reaching out, whether it's on the internet or in person, like there's infinite possibilities to connect with people. And there's a whole lot of people in the world that have no idea about Plexus. So if you just put yourself out there, be genuine, be yourself, really look to connect with people and add value to people, it's going to come up or it's not. But we can't judge that. Guys, one thing I want to share, kind of what Emily was saying. I looked through my phone last night. I was up till 2 a.m. trying to get on top of the beautiful rubble of Diamond. So much to catch up on, right? And I was looking through all the text messages that I sent to work on re-engaging people on my team. I committed to try to touch every person on my team, and I dang near did that, you guys. So, and I looked at all the people that never responded. I was willing to sit there and spend hours sending messages, fishing, so to speak, throwing the nets out there with all sorts of different bobbers and different, the spinners, whatever. I was willing to sit there and throw it all out there, not knowing what was going to happen. And this is something I'm going to post about. We get so addicted to certainty. We want certainty or else we're not going to take action. You guys, we have to break our addiction to certainty when it comes to relationship building with people. We never know what it's going to turn into. We can't go into it with an agenda. Like, I'm only going to build that relationship if I know they're going to be a Plexus. No. We have to be willing to do that work and not know what the outcome is going to be. We have to be willing to be those good people and not know what's going to come from it, right? So be you, be genuine, break the addiction with certainty, and just take the action. And you never know what's going to come from it. Like, you have to get professional at letting go of what the result will be. And just like Emily said, find ways to be genuinely you, connect with people, maybe in a lot of different ways. Like, that's going to, when you diversify that will increase your chances of getting results, right? But as you break that addiction to certainty and you just say, we'll see what comes from this, how fun. You put in that work every day, you show up, you be genuine, and the results will come as you just keep at it and keep being consistent.
Amen to that. And I think that when you try a few different ways and you see that, some things work really naturally for you, that will be what you lean into, because that will be your strength. But there will also be some things that you can develop. I will say that, like, pretty much all of this I had to develop because, like, not a whole lot of it came naturally for me. But like when I was in Dallas, I had a girl come and do my makeup, and we got to talk for an entire hour, and I talked unashamed, like going back to the beginning of this call and what we talked about, being unashamed of what you do, being unashamed of the products of your business. I think that is at the heart of it, is that you have to release any shame or any negative feelings about the fact that you are building a business, because you are a powerful creator. You are a businesswoman. And when you decide to own that and not be ashamed of it, you can talk to someone like that, and then you can go ahead and sign them up after just an hour and have them be super excited to work the business with you. And like, all of those things can happen whether you do it through social media or you do it in person. And we will talk a lot more about nuts and bolts of things, like whether you want to do it in person or you want to do it on social media. I know a lot of you are going to have to do a lot of it through social media. Today we talked a lot more about the in-person aspect, because we want you to understand that there is power in that connection. We don't want you to be afraid of it. We don't want you to be ashamed of it. Even me, who now an extroverted introvert, understands the importance of that. And I love that. I love to talk to people now, but I did not start out in that place. And so we want to challenge you to do the things we've talked about today. And we're going to challenge you before we meet again next week to come to this call being ready to share in the comments about your experience of talking to somebody that was a complete stranger about what you do. And tell us how that went. And then we're going to challenge you to up your IPA game to 10 a day. 10 a day meaning it's a combination of all of those categories so that you're always filling your funnel and you're sifting them into the right category. Guys, this is so possible. This is so doable. If you remove any of the drama, any of the fear, any of the shame, all of that stuff, and you just understand that part of your purpose is to bless other people's lives. And when you make up lame excuses and you don't do the things you need to do, you're not helping anybody, including yourself. So that's what we got for you today. We're super excited for our next 2 calls. Thanks for being here. We'll load this up to YouTube and we'll see you next time.